Hey guys, Mike Toy Bonsai Boise. This is my Ficus Fusion. Started as 3 cuttings about maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And I've just, I sort of braided them together, in that very generic way that people do. And I thought it would be cool just to experiment and try to fuse them together. So that's what I've been doing this whole time. So just want to give you an update today. Give it a trim, take a close look at how it's doing, and go over some of kind of what's working, what's not, and also re-bandage it up afterward. So come with me, let's have a look. So here it is. My Ficus benjamina Ficus Fusion. I've paid almost no attention to the structure of it this whole time. I've really just kind of let it grow wild. The last time that I wrapped it up there, I used rubber bands, as you can see. You can see where it's fusing, so it is working. What I didn't really know when I first started this is, and I figured out since, is that when you're going to fuse trees together, don't braid them. Because you can see gaps, especially down there. I'm not really sure how to address the bottom ones quite yet. Got some ideas, but yeah, you end up with gaps. So it's a lot better if you grow the trunks longer and straight and tie those together so that there are no gaps. Seems obvious now that I'm saying it out loud, but at the time I didn't know. I didn't think of it. But even some of the branches are fusing together. I remember when I first started this, I just kind of wrapped everything around everything. Just 2 branches going in the same direction, let's wrap them around each other. So it's kind of wild. I recently did the bag trick. And for anybody who hasn't heard me talk about that, it's where I take a big plastic bag and just put it over it and leave it that way for a couple weeks, maybe a month. I mean, I take it off and check on it and water it. I water it less because water has nowhere to go, but I still water it. And what happens is that it traps all that humidity in there and kind of acts as a miniature greenhouse, and aerial roots just grow like crazy. As you can see there, roots coming out of everything. So the tree in general is very top heavy. All the growth is really focused up there at the top, which I don't want. I want to kind of push that growth down. It's sort of a mix of strategies here. The smartest strategy, if you want to fuse trunks together and grow thickness, is just to let it grow. Don't check it at all. Don't cut it, nothing. Just let it grow. The more you let it grow, the more foliage. The more foliage equals more trunk thickness. But this is a bonsai tree after all, and I still have to look at it and have room for it, so I have to trim it up some. And even though trimming it now will slow down its growth, even if slightly, it does help kind of guide it into a general structure. And up till now, like I said, I haven't really paid any attention to the structure at all, but I am now starting to. I'm starting to pay more attention to, what does the structure look like? What do I want it to look like? Do I like the way it's going? Do I need to make corrections? So just starting that process, not getting drastic yet, but keeping stuff like that in mind. As you can see, the difference in the color of leaves. So the leaves at the top being much brighter and greener versus the leaves at the bottom. So that's sort of the problem, the one that I was hoping to avoid really, is that all that growth is going up top and none at the bottom. And ultimately, I do want to bonsai this tree, even once it's all fused together as one, which means I need foliage at the bottom. So if you don't have much experience with these Ficus benjaminas, I'll share that once they get those really old leaves down there, I don't know all the scientific reasoning behind this, but for some reason, it just slows down the growth. It's almost as if there's some message that the leaf sends the branch that says, hey, I've been hanging on for a while. No need to create new leaves. I got this. And so it just doesn't, and it just stays stagnant. But on the flip side, you can't get rid of it because you can't really defoliate a Ficus benjamina. The branch just dies. So you get stuck in this quandary of, I can't get rid of this old leaf because it's the only one left on the branch. But because it's the only one left on the branch and it's old, it's not going to grow new leaves. So you're stuck in this catch-22. So I'm trying a new strategy. I've tried it a little bit so far and had some success, where I'm basically just cutting the old leaf in half. So the idea or the theory being that will trigger it to grow new leaves and not die back the entire branch. Had some success on a couple other smaller trees that I just sort of experimented on. So we'll see if it works. And also, in addition to that, just keeping it trimmed down from the top. So if I keep pushing it down toward the bottom, in other words, just taking the growth out of the top, hoping that will trigger it to pop out new growth in the middle and toward the bottom. So we'll see. That's enough of that. Let's take a look at this fusion a little closer and take a look at some of these aerial roots too while we're in here. So all I did this last time, and I've tried several methods. I have a few videos out on this particular project. And all I did last time was I just took a rubber band, wrapped it around the trunk, and then took a little stick and stuck it in the rubber band to hold it in place. And it's worked. It's worked pretty good. It was in the greenhouse. Even during the summer, I kept it in the greenhouse. It was just big, and I was short on room out on the patio. So the ones with rubber bands that went outside over the summer did not do as well. The rubber bands dried up, fell off. So you can see they're really, really fusing together nicely now, but I still have this problem of the gaps due to the braiding. So just gonna take more time. With more time, it'll fuse together tighter. I have to be sure to keep whatever I'm wrapping it in. I have to make sure to keep that wrap tight. Tight and consistent. It's kind of a fun process just to watch it do this over the last few years. Especially when I think of where it started. I mean, it started as just 3 cuttings like the size of one of those little tiny branches there. So you can see up top there, some of the branches are also fusing together with other branches. So it's cool. It looks like a, you know, something in a Vietnam jungle. I think I'm going to have to do something about how close all those branches are, though. I would like them to spread out more. So the aerial roots are cool and wild, but I'm going to try to jimmy them up a little bit differently. I'm just going to move a couple of them very carefully. So much pressure there. There we go. Much better. Kind of like that a little bit better. With the aerial roots kind of around the outside of it. Which, by the way, I'm sure have noticed by now, this is not in a bonsai pot. It's in a rather deep, big pot. And that's on purpose. I wanted to encourage a lot of good, healthy, deep growth for a while. At least while I was doing this fusion. So that arrowroot kind of bounces and all around the top layer, so I'm just going to get rid of some of it. I'll point out too, while I'm messing with that, this is one of several fusion projects I have going right now. I have a lot of smaller fusion projects and a lot of just experiments. I'll do a video, I'm sure sometime in the next couple of months, of an update to all the experiments that I made a video on around this time last year. I'll try to post a link to that video here if I can. Sometimes YouTube gives me problems doing that, but yeah, I posted a video on a lot of just experiments with ficuses, so I'll post an update on those. In the meantime, now I'm rewrapping it, and I'm using just regular plumber's tape, which is something I've been using on, I first tried it on the smaller ficus fusions, and it's worked out really well because it holds tightly, doesn't rot, but it has some stretching ability. So what you want is you want it to hold together very tightly, but at the same time you don't want the trees, you don't want it so rigid that the trees grow into it, like wire, for example. If you wire up a tree to fuse it, I'm sure it'll work, but it'll work too good. It won't have any give to it, and so the trees just bite in, or I should say the wire bites into the tree as the tree grows. So I found this to be, so far, the best method. And I've tried a ton of different things. Rubber bands, strings, electrical tape. That was the worst of them. Yeah, so that's kind of a better look at the structure of it. Pretty wild still. It is not and has not been refined at all. I'm only just now, like I said, starting to look at the structure and go, okay, let's make some decisions and at least start it off on its path to having some structure, some character. Big chunk there, try and make a cutting out of that. Because we all know that I need more ficus cuttings. So that's what it looks like after my work today. Got some aerial root growth, trimmed it down quite a bit, hoping to encourage some back budding and produce some newer leaves all around. Rewrapped it with that Teflon plumber's tape so it can continue to fuse. Left it in the same pot in the same soil. If you want to see updates on this one, just like and subscribe, and you can see updates as I post them, and you can go back and see where it came from. I have 4 or 5 videos on this one from the past. So thanks for watching. Have a good day.